guys, Nary here from Drakewing Gamers, so if you know me on Twitter, The Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you with another Let's Play episode of Violet Memoir, Lucas's Path. So, guys and gals, let's go ahead and jump right back into it. We were about to open that horrible Violet Memoir. But guys, sit back and please enjoy, and let's jump right in. Alarm chain, you're up, and let's go. Okay. Eventually she turns to me with a sigh so filled with annoyance that I want to run back up to my room and pretend I never found this book. I guess that answers my question about if she's been ignoring me or not. You know, the front desk isn't open after 6, right? And now that I can see her face more clearly, she's wearing a tired expression. The bags under her eyes make me feel even more guilty. Yeah, I just needed you to check something for me real fast. I promise it won't take very long. At least I hope it doesn't take very long. After a few seconds of contemplation, she finally sits back in front of the computer. Fine, don't do this again though, some of us just want to go home. After some key taps and clicking around with the mouse, she looks back at me. So, what is it? Realizing I've just been standing there like an idiot, I quickly put the diary on the desk. Someone left something in my room. I was hoping I could get their name, so maybe I could give it back. I'm in room 603 on side A. I think the person was on side B. It was in the nightstand on that side. The only response she gives is a non-committal huff as she returns to typing. After about 20 seconds, her eyes widen slightly before quickly going back to normal. It happened so fast, I'm not sure it actually happened. I'm tempted to lean over to see what's on the screen, but I exercise a bit of restraint. She's no longer tapping on the keyboard nor looking at the screen. She seems to be contemplating something. A few seconds of silence fly by before she turns to me with an unsure look on her face. Sorry, but we're not really allowed to disclose the information of previous residents. I hope you understand. The only immediate response I can give is a slow nod. While this makes sense, I can't help but feel like I'm being lied to. After all, why would she go through the effort of looking for the information if she was just going to deny me at the end? Well, could you send this to them? It's theirs and they might want it back. I slide the book across the desk to the poodle, but she instantly pushes it back towards me. Sorry, we don't keep records of their future address. Maybe you can keep it. She must have realized how silly that sounds because she dismisses that with a wave of her hand. Her demeanor is more nervous than annoyed now. Just, what did she see? Sorry, guys, I thought I had muted that. Or just throw it away. It's an old diary, after all. She probably has a new one. She? Once again, I feel like I'm being stonewalled in a really bizarre way. What she's saying makes sense, and it's probably true, but she's saying it in a way where I feel like they're hiding something from me. It's actually very eerie. I suddenly feel very uncomfortable, like I'm being watched through the security cameras. Sorry to bother you, then, and thank you for your help. My mutter is barely audible as I hurry to grab the journal and rush to the elevator. Have a good night, sir. I don't look back. An itching sensation runs up my back as I push my way into my room. A heavy, uncomfortable feeling crawls up my neck, causing the fur to stand on end. I chuck the diary onto the desk and fall haphazardly onto my bed. It's best to just ignore it for now. The only problem is underneath me is a pile of pants. The uncomfortable lump pressing into my stomach. After I found the diary, I completely forgot to put them away. Turning my head to the right, I can see the dislodged drawer leaning against the far nightstand. I'll deal with that later, too. Right now, I just need a moment to mellow out. Just a moment. I'm standing on a beach. The water looks black under the night sky. The waves crash in front of me as I sit on a rocky ledge. I can feel my eyes burn as if I had stared into the sun for hours. The only companion with me on this deserted beach is the sound of the thunderous roaring in front of me. There's a part of me that wants to join in its uproar, just to scream so loud the heavens will quiver. But I can't bring myself to do anything. All I can do is stare down at the phone in my hand, watching my reflection on the empty screen. As if waiting for something. But I can't remember what I'm waiting for. It feels like I've been sitting here for hours. Suddenly my phone lights up and I see a little message pop up. As the alert chimes from my phone, I feel myself lurching upwards. Bing! The relatively quiet alert echoes loudly, ripping apart the peaceful silence as I'm jolted awake. My eyes burn as I try to figure out what's going on. Between my head pounding and bile in my throat, it takes me nearly a minute to compose myself. A loud groan croaks from my throat as I fumble about, trying to locate my phone. What time is it? My voice sounds hoarse, like I haven't drank anything in years. It's like my entire mouth is filled with cotton. Locating my phone, it shows I've only been asleep for an hour and a half. No wonder I'm feeling awful. Naps always make me feel like trash. The only notifications I've gotten are 2 emails. The first is just the promised contact information of the rest of my media group, while the other is from a name I barely recognize. Sender. Lily Rose. Subject. Meetup. I considered just going back to sleep and reading it later, but the silhouette of the drawer... oh god, excuse me guys, but the silhouette of the drawer on the other bed reminds me I still have to put my pants away. Sitting up, I hear little clicks as I stretch my back. My bad sleeping posture makes this a common occurrence, but the sound never fails to make my skin crawl. Blinking away the last of the sleep from my eyes, I open up the email. The brightness makes reading it with my bleary eyes difficult. Hey, my name is Lily. I'm in the same media class as you guys. I just wanted to let you guys know that I want to do a little get-together tomorrow. So, we can do some introductions and maybe just get started on our project a bit. Wouldn't that be pretty cool? I was thinking we could meet up at the school library near Edmund Hall at around lunch. We can hang then maybe get some food, you know. I'm sending this to all you, so if it conflicts with any of your schedules, let me know and I'll change the time. Tell me tonight. We don't want to do it on such short notice. Love, Lily. It takes me a moment to remember the name. Right, Lily Rose. She's in my group. Meeting her and the others is probably a good idea. I know where Edmund Hall is. Thankfully, I have my biology class there. Quickly checking my schedule on my phone, I only have one class on Tuesday. It's my second biology class of the week in Edmund Hall at 10 a.m. It'll be a tight fit, but the lecture finishes at 11:45, so it should be fine. With that out of the way, the only thing left to deal with is putting the rest of my luggage away. Hoisting myself off the bed, I get to work organizing my pants and the rest of my bag, which only has toiletries remaining. I've never been partial to cleaning, but reorganizing my room has always been a good way for me to calm down. Now that everything's done, I realize how empty this room is. I'm not used to not having many friends, but without my parents in the house as well, it feels like it's missing something. It's small, but a twinge of sadness starts to flow through me. Bing! My phone startles me out of my melancholy. I'm expecting it to be Lily again, telling me someone couldn't make it, but I see a text message from someone else instead. It's from Lucas. Hi, I don't know if you saw it, but it looks like we're meeting tomorrow. Lily sent us an email to meet in the library. I quickly tap out a response on my touchscreen, the claws making a satisfying tap sound. Are you going to be alright? I know you weren't a fan of being there earlier. That's just the school itself. This is a public library, even if it is mainly used by university students. But it's on a campus. I don't mind the campus, just the buildings. If you're sure. I am, trust me, I'll be fine. Thank you for caring, though. It means a lot. It's somewhat gratifying meeting someone who texts as formally as I do. I'm just not comfortable using text speak. And thankfully, Lucas looks just as much as a stick in the mud as I am. To be fair, his comments about a modern handshake should have clued me in. That's good then. Looks like we'll be able to meet the rest of our group. I still wish I wasn't in this group. I just want to stay in my room. It seemed like you enjoyed the company today. Doesn't mean I want to get together and do classwork. Anyway, I'm free all of tomorrow. Do you want to head there together? I can't. I got a class before it. I'll need to head there right after it finishes. Do you want me to meet you over there? I'll be fine. Are you sure you'd even be fine doing that? Probably not. I just feel like I owe you. Well, don't. I just did what any decent person should. Yeah, sorry. He suddenly sends another message before I have a chance to even respond to the previous one, though there isn't much I can say to that. I really hope he's going to be alright. He looked really messed up today. Shit, my roommate made me some food. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks again. See you, man. I need to get something to eat, too. We'll meet up at the library. The Chinese place down the road should still be open. I'll get something from there tonight. I don't have any groceries to cook anything in the shared kitchen anyway. When I return, take out food in hand, my eyes immediately fall onto the diary. It's still exactly where I left it, tossed haphazardly onto the deck at the end of my bed. Can't exactly return it, so I guess it couldn't hurt to read it. And plus, I might be able to figure out who the diary belongs to. I take a seat on the barely cushioned chair, trying to ignore the guilt in my chest. At least they have a gap in the back for tails. Making sure the diary isn't in the splash range, I eat some of my sweet and sour chicken. I'd be horrified if I returned a diary covered in food stains. Satisfied, I open up the diary and find a frustrating surprise. On the inside of the cover, written in a large font, Property of Helena Lawson. Please call 202-555-0106 to return. I feel like I'm staring at it for an eternity before it finally registers. Seriously? Embarrassment and a little anger rise in my chest as I feel extremely stupid for trying to pry information out of the receptionist instead of just checking inside the diary. It's only 8:21 p.m. Surely they wouldn't be asleep yet. Trying to ignore the apprehensive feeling whispering in my ear, I dial the number. Do I just tell her I was snooping through her diary? Surely she'll understand if it's to return it. Right? But instead of any of the options I'm expecting, a second surprise awaits me. Sorry, but the phone you've called is no longer active. If this is your number, please call I I cut the pre-recorded message off before releasing a large sigh, though it might as well have been a groan. I tossed my phone onto my bed, closed the book, and decided to deal with it tomorrow. Quickly grabbing my laptop, I started a movie and grabbed my food, ready to settle in for the night. Heh. If there's anything I think that could need... Why is that blue? Holy shit, I just noticed that fucking thing is blue. What is this blue ball? This strange blue orb. Alright, I say there's one little bit of criticism that I have. That's just down to personal taste. I wish that part was a little more fleshed out. Like, it's just a very sudden transition is all. That's all I'm saying. Alright, anyway. Rushing out of Edmund Hall, I rushed through the busy crowds of students leaving their classes. Biology took a little bit longer to finish than I expected. It's only 5 minutes past our meetup time, but it leaves a bad impression if I'm late to the first meeting. Even with running the rest of the way, it takes a couple of minutes to reach the library and I'm covered in sweat. Just a little bit. I don't even want to know what I smell like. Curse my musculate heritage. I really should have let Lucas come get me. If both of us were late, it wouldn't be so awkward. Oh god, sneeze, no! No, sneeze, no! Okay. It wasn't a sneeze, it turned into a yawn. Okay. The library is a lot bigger than I expected. It has 3 stories and students are flowing constantly in and out of the building. Sitting next to the doors is a familiar fox. As I approach him, he catches sight of me and wanders over, his aloof demeanor reminding me when I first saw him. He's wearing a very similar outfit to yesterday, a dress shirt and tie, this time without the vest. His fur looks considerably cleaner and his eyes aren't matted like yesterday. Their auburn color stands out like a lighthouse in his sea of dark fur. Saying he looks better is an understatement. It's like looking at a completely different person. His entire body is more animated, too. It's very handsome. That cold aloofness melts away slightly when the gap between us closes, and it's like his entire body explodes with motion, from his ears twitching to his tail flickering about. But most importantly, his eyes are burning like an inferno, the warmth spreading to the rest of his body. We stop in front of each other, but not a word is said as I continue to stare into his eyes, only barely catching sight of his ears reddening from the attention in my peripheral vision. Damn, my staring is making him nervous. I have to break the ice before it gets too awkward. Were you waiting out here for me? Yeah, and to get away from the others. Is there some kind of problem? Not really, they're fine. It's more with me. I just don't think we mesh well. At least they don't with me. I'm sure you'll get used to them. Should we head in? I hope you're right, and sure. It's a bit confusing there, so follow me. Lucas wasn't kidding when he said the place was confusing. The first floor is filled with students, but apparently there aren't any study tables down there at all. It's just for books and checking them out. The second floor is a bunch of tables set up for university students to use. Even though it's a public library, only students are allowed up there. Upon reaching the second floor, I'm overwhelmed by just how many students there are. There's got to be at least 20 tables, and almost all of them are occupied. I'm really grateful to have Lucas here with me. Otherwise, I might have wasted time trying to find my group. Finding a bunch of strangers is no easy task. As I get closer to the table, though, I recognize 2 of the figures. The first is a certain otter, leaning forward on the table with some rather shocking-looking eyes as he stares at me. His astonishment doesn't last long, and he gives me a bright smile that stretches from ear to ear. He's really the happy-go-lucky type. He's wearing a different outfit this time. Instead of his lax button-up shirt, he's now wearing a gaudy green tank top with an assortment of shapes and colors. It's a pretty stark difference to the type of clothing he had worn to class yesterday. The second, and honestly more unexpected of our little group, is the possum leaning back on his chair. He's still clad in that same leather jacket. He's leaning back on his chair, allowing me to see his ripped-up jeans. I wonder if they're genuinely ripped or just a stylistic choice. I'm honestly scared to ask. He's looking much more surprised than the others, though there's some concern mixed into his eyes. Lucas sits down next to the otter, refusing to look at anyone at the table. I have the feeling Lucas is the one who doesn't mesh with them, not the other way around. There's a palpable coolness between him and the rest of the group. Oh god, what was that? Say that again. Okay. Alright, that was weird. The way the possum is staring at me catches my attention. There's concern in his gaze as he looks me over with a furrowed brow. Jesus, kid, you look like shit. And you look like you crawled out of a dumpster from a trailer park, so I don't think you have room to judge. The possum's expression turns to one of confusion at the Vulpine's remark. His attention immediately diverts over to him. A little bit of sadness is poking through the hard exterior, but mostly just confusion at the sudden attack. By the way his ears are lowered, I think that comment stung. Jesus, Lucas certainly hasn't mellowed out from yesterday. Actually, he might be worse. He's definitely less upset, but he didn't lash out that bad yesterday. I wonder if being in a group is making him act out. He doesn't come across as the type to used to socializing. I hope he's able to feel more comfortable soon, for everyone's sake. Anyway... Oh, anyway... An unfamiliar woman's voice catches my attention, and I turn to who I can only assume is Lily, standing in front of her chair with her hands clasped in front of her chest. I had completely forgotten she was here. The others are just eccentric characters. They dragged all my attention to them. She's a small canine, definitely shorter than me, which is pretty rare. Most people tend to dwarf me by at least a couple inches. Her features are soft and comforting, a stark contrast to our fellow vulpine and marsupial members. She's wearing a light yellow cardigan. It looks hand-knit and very comfortable. It's a nice contrast to her rather dark fur color. Underneath, she's wearing a cute pink dress that only goes halfway down to her thigh. I can see the lighter fur color of her inner thighs, causing me to look back up to her face, my ears burning with embarrassment. She's got a smile on her face. Hers feels very maternal and subdued, unlike the other's boisterous giant grin. Wallace, please take a seat. She's gesturing to the seat across from her. Seriously, please. There's been a fair bit of bickering, and I want to start so we can introduce ourselves. Hopefully things mellow out. For a split second, I think she's kidding, but despite her genuine smile, there's traces of fatigue scattered across her features. Not enough for me to worry, but enough to see it's a little tiring. I quickly take my seat, not wanting to hold her up and before anyone else can say anything. Lily continues. So, as you could probably guess, I'm Lily Rose. Yes, it's a weird name. No, I'm not from a family of florists. She gives a light chuckle at her own joke. It's a warm laugh that causes my lips to twist into a grin. It's so contagious. We've already introduced ourselves while we were waiting, so I'll just introduce you to them now. She gestures over to her right, towards the out-of-place marsupial. This is Ash. A sudden glare in her direction forces her to cut herself off, though she brushes it off with a laugh pretty fast. I mean, this is Lee Scott. He's rather quiet from what I can tell. We ran into each other at yesterday's lecture. Almost literally, I might add. Lily is looking at us with an inquisitive expression, obviously curious. Lee, on the other hand, has his eyes closed and he's shaking his head, but I can see the corner of his mouth curving up, just a little bit. Yeah, I kind of almost tripped over and he caught me. He even saved my laptop. I lift up my laptop bag for emphasis, trying to ignore the unimpressed looks I know I'm getting. It would have smashed everywhere if it wasn't for him. Also, wouldn't have smashed if you looked where you were going. All eyes shift toward the vulpine and he shuffles uncomfortably in his seat. He sneers, but it's not directed at us, his attention firmly on the table. Sorry. Lee, who has been silent this whole conversation, finally speaks up. Are you doing alright, kid? Not hurting anywhere? You still had a rather hard thump against me. I'm fine. It's not like I smacked into the ground. You really saved me there. I'm still pretty hard. Had to check. For a second, I think he's trying to show off or keep up some kind of badass facade, but his face looks serious. I can't tell if that makes me worried or curious. Alright guys, I'm gonna save it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Leave a super thanks or tip if you can. It always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!